Okay, Rinconians, we're gonna just take a quick ride down the road from where we've been staying here at my wife's parents' place, and just kind of talk about the changes here, the decline and disappearance of small town America. So you look around, you can see out the window here, you know, these prairies and the farms, they still exist. The land is still being farmed, but it's being farmed by just a few people, whereas probably 70 years ago, 80 years ago, there were farms, many more farms. Probably every mile there would have been a house, or even less. But here's an example of part of the decline I'm talking about. Let me just pull in here. This is owned by my in-laws, my mother-in-law, and this is the schoolhouse that my father-in-law went to, and it just sits here. There's 1 acre that they've set aside. I think they bought it at an auction, and he liked it because he went to school here, and literally 1 mile down the road is their house that we stay at. So they own this, and it just sits and eventually will fall down. Let's go take a closer look. You're gonna hear the wind as we're out on the prairie. But here's the old schoolhouse. You can see the roof is given in. And as you know, once the roof goes, so does the building. Ooh, windy today. A couple years ago, I put this lock on just to kind of try to keep the door closed. Hello? I want to surprise anyone. Okay. So, the entrance. And as you can see, still got the coal stove here. You can see the water's coming in now, so we're gonna lose the architectural detailing, so the water stains. You can see the chalkboard in the back, and it's become a storage facility for my in-laws. So this also was not just a schoolhouse, but it was a community center. And so here's some remnants of the desks. But there's also the folding chairs as a community center. And here's the ballot box that they would have used. Someone else has been living in there too. I always think it's a shame when I see stuff like this just deteriorate. Here's the first section to lose its roof. And that shelf actually still has school books. Healthful living, so health class. People in progress, what would that be? Social studies? English 5, grade 7. All right, I want to take you to one other place locally. So this is the schoolhouse. So it only makes sense we need to go to another community space. So we'll go up the road and I'll show you that. Alright, let's just go a little further up the road here and we'll see a church building that is no longer in use. Okay, so here's the, again, sorry about the wind, I don't have the windshield. Interesting architectural detail. See the altar is still there. Ooh, the wind is something else. Architecturally, really kind of sad, isn't it? All right, I didn't get permission to come in here, so better get out. Anyway, this kind of leads me to the understanding the economics of the area in the sense of, you figure when this area was first settled, you know, a family would get a section of land and their family could live and work the land. Hold on here a second. So you figure a family, when land was first given out with the Homestead Act, could get just a little chunk of land and make a living. It's their family, and many people did that. So you figure within a mile, you know, maybe there were 2 or 3 different families, and that worked for a generation or two. But as technology increased, being able to farm with powered equipment, you could do larger areas, and in reality you had to do larger areas to keep up with the economics of the time. And then people, of course, started working beyond the farms. So eventually what happened is these little farms were given up, as maybe the neighbor bought up their neighbor and he started farming twice the area, and it just went from there. So now you might get a house every, I don't know, 2 to 3 miles apart. Farmers have huge equipment. They're able to do huge chunks of land, and they have to in order for the economics to work, to pay for what they're doing, paying for their equipment, and to make ends meet. That's the only way it would work. So then what happens? These schoolhouses, these churches, there's not enough people to maintain them, to be there, to use them. Alright, I'm just going to cut to another clip I have of a tour of an old homestead that is now vacant and abandoned, and probably has been vacant and abandoned for many years. So take a look at that, and it just helps show you my point about how people just, you know, sold their place and someone else took over, at least farming, but they don't need the house, so the house just sits. And that's why you see so many abandoned buildings and homes that just kind of fall into the ground over time here. So take a look. This is an old homestead that right now is only farmed. But at one time someone lived here. There's where the barn once stood. And here's the house. The house is still kind of standing. So we came out here to explore. But we're really appreciating whoever picked this spot. Really knew what they were doing. And at one time, this was a beautiful house. We're just looking at the tree row here. I think those are lilacs against the edge. And you're overlooking down a number of sloughs. Should be one there, but that's kind of dried out. No rain this summer. Anyway, let's take a look at the building inside. We'll risk our necks exploring abandoned buildings. So she figures the family probably bought this 40 years ago. I'd imagine even 40 years ago this was probably in bad shape. But of course nobody did anything. So as soon as the roof gives out, the water comes in. And I'm even risking my neck here walking on this stuff. But if it falls in, that would be good video, wouldn't it? So here, look at this door. This used to go into a room. You can see that room has fallen in. But this would have been the kitchen. Someone made some interesting wallpaper choices. But you know, for a farmhouse, it's still got the farmhouse detail. You see the windows. And this would have been the living room. Taking it slow. I'd say 40 years ago, this probably looked pretty good. Big picture window that would have overlooked the prairie. Door. This is the one thing that seems to be still in pretty good shape. And it works. Got light switches. Let's turn on the light. Oh, look at that. Nothing. And another room. It's falling in. You can see how it's all tilted. That's the foundation. But you can just see how they've added on over the years. See where those windows used to be? They closed it off and did that addition, that area where it had fallen in. See, do I dare walk over here? Another room here. It's interesting, it's sad, people let stuff like this go, but I guess in the end it is what it is, right? And there is an upstairs over here. Let's take a look at that. You can see this would have been like the front entry, front porch at one time. Let's see what I can do. Yeah, closing the door. Don't want anyone to get in. Should lock it too, right? In spite of the fact this looks all rotted, it's still holding my weight somehow. Let's go up here. This is on the stairway. I'd take my life in my hands. Let's see if I can. Hold my 200-pound weight. Yeah, up in the, must have been a bedroom or something. It actually looks like someone took those boards up. You know, you hear rumors about people hiding money in their floorboards. Maybe they were looking for money. This is probably why that. Huh. Almost looks like they just stuck a building up against it, doesn't it? That's probably what they did. It was a shed. Time for a new roof. We'll get right on that. Maybe a little paint. Isn't that cool though, the view through the window? What kind of bed do you think that is? It almost looks like lawn furniture or a futon. Okay. Make our way back down. Here's the bed rail. Anyway, just a little rant, a little vlog on what it's like living here in the prairies of North Dakota. Here's a nice view. You look out across this field. They've cut the grain, and the bales I think is just the stalks. Can you see that hawk on the bale? You often see him just perched on a bale, and then someone has looks like they've hayed the edges. Beautiful day today if it weren't for the wind. All right, everyone, just a few thoughts as we've spent more and more time here in North Dakota, understanding why things are the way they are now. All right, thanks for tuning in, and remember, you're not a Rinconian unless you subscribe. All right, everyone, take care.